Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking. It is my distinct pleasure to talk to you about this game, but not really technically this game. I'm talking to you about Battlestations, but the upcoming version 2 that is coming out. This is a game that has been around forever. As you can even see, this is like version 1.1. I actually, I've owned a copy of Battlestations for as long as I can remember. It was one of the first board games I ever picked up. I think I picked it up at posy.com way back when, in that like Deal a Day site or whatever. And this is like, it's like 10 years ago or so, I'm thinking. This is a game that is obviously going to be about science fiction, but it is a game that bridges the gap between role-playing games and board games. Now, there's lots of games out there that say they do that, and some do to a certain extent, and some don't. But I'm telling you that Battlestations itself does. I'm a child of role-playing games. That was like that's my first and greatest love. I played a lot of Star Frontiers when I was younger. I played a lot of Traveller, games like that that had that science fiction ship exploring planets, basis, if you will. And, whereas this isn't going to be like a full role-playing game experience. I mean, you're not going to have like, 2-hour-long discussions of like global politics or anything like that. It does a very good job of giving you a character, giving you somebody that you get to embody and grow with, and and level, and so on and so forth. And so you can actually see a progression. You can have a storyline for your character that goes through this process, because the game itself, I remember there were kind of like modules, if you will, that I got for this that had a successive amount of stories, and then one player was basically the game master, the enemy, if you will, that would put the other players through the ringer, if you will, and then you tell a story and progress through it, and it was a lot of fun. Now this is the upgraded new version. It's going to have awesome miniatures and everything like that. The Kickstarter has been going on for about a week or so. It's already funded. So I'm going to show you how the game is played, and I'm going to kind of give you an overview as far as that's concerned. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to talk a little bit more just about what I really dig about this, and hopefully somewhere along the way you'll figure out something, whether or not this is something that you and your gaming group are going to enjoy. Alright, cool. Well, here it goes. Battlestations, but not version 1.1, like version 2, if you will. Alright, here we go. If I was to talk to you about every single little rule that is included with Battlestations, it would take way too long, and this video would be ridiculously long. Maybe when this expanded or second version comes out, I can do it at that time. But right now, I just want to give you a real good idea of how the game is played. Now, basically what happens is this is one of those all versus one type games. Usually the player that knows the rules the best will be considered to be like the enemy. If you played games like Descent, the Overlord player, whatever. So you're just like the enemy player in this one. And so you're going to be controlling the NPCs, and your goal is just to prevent the heroes from succeeding in their mission. Now, this is a very, very basic mission. This is the tutorial mission that is included with the game. This is the one that's going to be teaching everybody the real basic premise of this game. So the idea is that the heroes, which are these 4 people right there, these heroes have docked with this space station, and that is on this little map over here. You can see that there's a little cardboard cutout of the space station. It looks kind of like a donut, and that is their ship, and they have docked here. Well, here's the deal. This world, this galaxy is like unrest, and they feel like civil war is just right around the corner. So after they've docked, they were going to be inspected to see if they're smuggling something or whatever. And they've just been told you are being decommissioned because they're part of this group or whatever, ostensibly part of this government. But you're being decommissioned. You're basically not going to be have this ship that they have anymore. And this is the ship, and this is the space station over there. And you need to go ahead and turn in your weapons. You're retiring, and we are going to we're going to take your ship, and we're going to use it for the war effort, the upcoming civil war that's right around the corner. Well, the players don't want that. They think that this government is tyrannical, and this is that moment where their rebel leanings come to fruition, and now they're going to act upon them. And so the goal here is that the players need to get back on their ship, and it's docked, so they just go through this little walkway here, and each one of these is a tile, that you can set up to create different things, and you go through them through the center, as long as you can't go out into space or anything like that. But as long as you just go through those doors, and this is not an area either. This is like the status of the ship. I just put it right there. And then so they need to kill or incapacitate the humans, the government, the people that were going to take over their ship. They have to incapacitate those people and then take over the ship and blast away, and then get their ship off of the board over here, while most likely the space station will be blasting away with their guns and with their missiles and trying to stop them from doing so. Now, each player, when you begin the game, will take a character, and each person is going to take on a specific role. So like, and they have alien races as well. And these are the basic characters that you get with it. They do actually include like there's an extended like character creation process that you can go through. Though to begin the game, it is not suggested you go through that process. But obviously, after you get used to the game, you can definitely do that. So what it is that you can see there is like the profession of the character is important, because whatever you are good at, you get dice rerolls. So this is an engineer, and you'll notice that their engineering skill is 4 over here. And what the number is with the engineering, every skill check is rolling 2 dice and then adding whatever your skill is. Now, and then you're trying to hit a certain target number depending on what you're doing. And so, engineers, what they're usually doing is they're going to the engines, and they're like getting power to the engines, and so you can then apply that power to have speed that allow you then to get and moving up and out of the space dock, and that's your whole goal in that situation. And power is kind of neat. Is like when you use it, the power goes down, and so like if your shields get used, they go down. If the guns get used, they go down. Helm goes down, and it goes down. And so you need to keep putting the power back into those particular things so then they can use. And so also you can do that depending on the scenario. These might start up high or low. According to this scenario, your speed is 0. These are all set at 1. And so getting it moving right away is fine. But then, so like after you got in here and you got it going, and you use battle stations by these little stars. You have to have your character in one of those spots. So you get it moving, but then you move your helm down to 0. And so then you need to race your engineer back down to one of these engines and then power up the engines. That would give you more helm power, and then you can use that again to get moving faster. And there's different things, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. But that's what you're trying to do as far as every roll is important, is what I'm getting at. Yes, it's fun to be blasting away with your blaster pistols and trying to take down your enemies, but you need somebody that is the doctor that's healing people. You need an engineer taking care of the power. You need a pilot that is maneuvering your ship and flying it away and things like that. So that being said, you have an engineer, and then if you have a certain ability, like as far as you get an extra move action each phase, because these are kind of like they just roll around like the tumble or whatever. And plus they have this really cool disintegrator pistol, which doesn't do as much damage as a blaster, but when you shoot somebody with it, there's a chance you will just vaporize that move. And then they have a special ability, which is Swashbuckler. It may interrupt your move to take your action. So they can actually stop in mid-move and to take an action. They will also have up here their luck, which is luck allows you to do rerolls. You have a move, which is 5, a number of hands, infinite, because this is just basically this kind of like swirly little blob of all these little roots and hands and tentacles, whatever. And the target number, if they're going to be shot. So if somebody tries to shoot at this, you need an 8 at least to hit them. And so going on, so here we have so this is Ticket, and so it's scientists, so you can see their science roll is a 3. They have a medikit and a blaster, so this is the person that will be healing people. The doctor, especially 6 rerolls for use on healing checks and dice, so you can reroll those. You see, it has a move of 7, has 3 hands, and the thing is that you can use weapons that take 2 hands or can carry or use 2 weapons, things like that. But you always, if you're going to use a battle station, those spots, you have to have 1 free hand to do that. And so this one, because it's got a carapace, it's kind of a big bug creature, reduces all the damage by 2. Humans, this is the Marine So like the humans, pretty straightforward. They're the jack of all trades. They kind of have everything. But you get to reroll 1 die of personal damage deal, so they can do extra damage. You can see their blaster does 2d6 minus 1. And as a human, you can reroll both dice in professional skill checks. Normally, you roll 2 dice, and like say you're an engineer, you roll 2 dice, like your engineer over here, he gets to reroll 1. But the human gets to reroll 2 because they're just, you know, they're resourceful and plucky or whatever. And finally, like, you have this silicoid creature, reduce damage by 1d6. You add, if it punches somebody, it does an extra damage. This person is your helmsman, they're your pilot, and so they're piloting, and this is kind of tough to see the lettering here, but yellow is piloting, and they're piloting a 4. They only have 1 hand. That kind of does stink about the silicoids, and they're kind of slow, but they're tough to take down, they're tough to kill, and they have tons of hit points, you know, so it's just like, you know, they're like, well, they're a living rock, basically. And plus, they're a speed demon, so be able to speed up or speed down with their rolls as a pilot, they actually get those bonuses there. So, I mean, so each one of these, you know, and you're, when you create your character, you don't have to take those specific abilities. You can kind of roll them out, you know, just kind of put things together, and that's one of the cool things about this. It is a very, there's lots of games out there that say, you know, this is a board game with RPG elements. This is a role-playing game. I mean, because of the fact that as your characters, you know, they'll level and they'll grow, and then you'll make them better, and plus you actually, like, you know, you can take like your basic ones and just say, I'll take this one, but you can take the moment just to create your character, give him a backstory, give him a reason why he's part of this crew. But anyway, so I'm not going to go through each specific turn, but basically a turn of the game begins with ship movement. If there is a speed, the ship will move. And ships, even if like your engines get destroyed from laser fire or missiles, it's space, so there's momentum. So whatever your speed was, the speed is constant. It doesn't. So if you got your speed up to 3 and your engines are destroyed, you'd still, and ship movement, just keep moving to 3. You know, if you ever played a Galaxy Trucker, you know, it's like you have the momentum. You just keep going forward. Now you might not be able to turn or anything because you don't have any propulsion, but you know, you will just keep going. And in some missions that's bad because you have to like be able to turn and avoid certain things. But in this case, it would be okay because you're just going straight. And as long as you can get off of the map, you'll be okay. So you do ship movement, and then you're going to take, after you do ship movement, and that's all the ships. The space station, obviously, it's not mobile, it's staying still. Then you take the player actions. Now the players get to discuss amongst themselves who's going to take the first action, what are they going to do, how are we going to do this, and they get to move, and they get to take an action. And then, or they can take an action and they can move, unless they have a special ability that allows them to stop and take an action while they move. And so the thing about that is that you can also take 2 actions just to move and to move if you want to, which then like you wouldn't be able to shoot somebody, or you wouldn't be able to use a special spot on the ship, but you could. So basically, it begins up like you probably you'd send in your marine, so that the human has a move of 5. So you can't go diagonally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't end up stopping on the same spot as anybody, but you can move through them. And then we're gonna blast that person. That's a human. They have a target of 8, and so remember our marine. If we go to, they have that blaster of, you can see 2d6 minus 1. You notice that they're also wearing armor. And so he has a combat of 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll 2 dice. We're going to add 2, and we're going to hope that we get our target number of 8. Let's see what we get here. So, oh, look at that. Double 6s. I don't have to reroll anything. I blast the guy. So then what you're going to do is we're going to take d6 minus 1 and see 2d6 minus 1 and see what we get for damage. So we got 4 and 1. But remember, Vic, our marine, he's brutal. He's a nasty guy. So I can reroll 1 die of personal damage you deal. So I'm going to roll the 1 and see if I get better. I got 6. Perfect. So 6 plus 4, 10 minus the 1, 9 points of damage. These guys only have 7 hit points. And so, like, you blast him and he's gone. He's dead. And, yeah, I'm not going to bother right now, but there are tokens for the equipment that the creatures will leave behind them. And so, and like, this person has a jetpack, and as you can see, they're blasting away. Their jetpack has a jetpack and a blaster pistol. And so then you put those in that spot, and then other people can collect those as an action. Now, the cool thing about when you collect things is that you just put them, if you collect an item, you just put the token on the spot. You can carry your equipment equal to your athletics plus 1. So this is like Vic 2, and he goes. So if he wanted to, he could collect the jetpack if nobody else takes it, and he could have that, and basically then he could fly around the ship and move faster with the jetpack. And then you can also between missions, you're able to keep one item that like you may have taken from the enemy. So that's that. So now we move our silicoid. And like I said, the silicoids are kind of slow, and so like we want to get him into at least into the position where he's able to use the helm and try to move away. Let's just cheat a little bit here and say like he was there. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there he is. He makes it there, and he's going to take his action. And he's going to activate the helm. So when you do that, you reduce the power. Sorry, I should do that. And so he has piloting of 4. We're at 0. Speed, which is important because to move or to speed up, the speed that you're currently at is a deciding factor. So looking at this this sheet here, these are the different actions that you can do. You will see that maneuver, and that is both. Here, I'll move a little closer. You can see maneuver, and you see that's 2 times speed plus 2 times size. This is a size 3 ship. I should have said that before. So that is automatically a 6. And then you add 2 times your speed is 0. And so that is actually also to turn as well if you want to do that. So we're going 0. So we have to go 2 times our speed is 3, 6. So basically we can't fail because of the fact even we roll snake eyes. We're going to add 4 for our piloting. But we're going to do it anyway just to see what happens. And actually, you know what? He probably go last because we don't want to leave technically without. Because as soon as you start, even though you haven't moved away, you are considered to have like moved away from the space station. So the other players probably would, I moved in here, and we're just going to move them in. Because I'm not going to go turn by turn here. But we're going to roll, even though we don't have to, a 5 plus our skill 4 is a 9, more than the 6. So then we use up the helm power, and then we go ahead and move our speed up to 1. So next turn, we will, at the beginning of the turn, we will. Now, I should mention, because there aren't any missiles out here. After you do ship movement, you do missile movement as well. And missiles do fly interdependently, and they'll chase after. But I didn't mention that. I apologize for that. But regardless, so now we've successfully we've shut the doors. We've blasted away from the starbase, and now the other player. So now the enemy player gets to go. And so these government agents realize what's happened, and so now they're going to want to move into a position where they can do something. So this science officer moves down here. He can probably shoot. So now we action. They have blaster pistols, so we're just going to go ahead. And you have to, like, the person that's running the mission is the enemy player. They will be able to look, and I'll just turn here so, like, you can actually see, like, they have, like, the enemy stats, like here, and they'll have that information ready for them. And, so they aren't very good at combat. They don't have any special ability. They do have some pilot skill, but that's about it. And so, but we're just going to roll, and they don't get to re-roll. They don't have luck or anything like that. So it's just rolling dice and see if we get lucky. So target number is 8 for a human. Let's see if we get lucky. I got a 5, so blaster goes wide, does no damage. So then we move, and this is the Marine. So the Marine has the disintegrator pistol. So he's kind of a badass. So but we have to make sure we kill him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he'll go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because they're racing to help. The engineer back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now remember, this isn't set movement. This isn't like a game where there's AI. So they will. These are situations where, the person running them, we're going to use them to their best ability in these things. So, and then these robots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, will do, the same thing. They're going to be moving to get to these weapons here, so they can possibly shoot down our spaceship as we're leaving. Now, they aren't going to shoot at it, even though they might get to these weapon bays. They're not going to shoot at it until, we're not going to blow it up if there still are people on it, because when you actually shoot the ship, like, you can obviously destroy the ship, but also you can hurt the people that are inside it, and so we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we have a chance. So then the next turn, we're going to have the exact same thing. Like I said, I'm not going to go through each and every round, but eventually what's going to happen is you're probably going to kill these guys. And, you're going to get your engineer down here. When you get your engineer down to this location, they're able to then, and we slowly, like, as the turns go by, we're increasing movement, and we're moving our ship further away from the battle station. And then what happens then is that down here, when you pump the engines, is what it's called, you're pumping the energy source. And so then that increases the power of, any one of these things. You can also transfer power by making a skill check to, like, we're going to lower our shields and raise our helm by 1, and so on and so forth. And so, you're going to have your pilot on the spot of the helm, and, you're probably going to have, like, your marine fighting the remaining crew, and also you're healing your scientist, who's also a doctor, helping him out and healing them as can. Now, I'm not going to go super deep into ship combat, because it is it's still a very, very big part of the game, but just ship combat works a lot like interpersonal combat, where you're just if you have a person on the spot of the gun that you're going to use, like you have these guns, or you have this missile bay over here, you'll do the same thing and it works well if you're Marine, because they get to re-roll their attack dice. You're going to just take those dice, and you're going to roll, and you're going to be trying to hit either, like, whatever you're like, shooting at the starbase or shooting at the ship. Now, you have to just consider that the idea is that these, like, the starbase rotates, and so the guns are facing in the direction you have to shoot. And the same thing goes for the ship. They're on turrets or whatever. It isn't a situation where you got to make sure you get your ship turned around so you can shoot, or the starbase has to be in a certain location or whatever for the weapons to fire. Unlike combat here, where if you don't have line of sight, you can't shoot. Like, he couldn't shoot at this guy because he's, like, around the corner, if you will. So you have to, like, have an understanding as far as line of sight for personal combat. But for in space, it doesn't really work like that. And you can have multiple things in the same spots. You can't really collide with another ship because space is three-dimensional. I love to have that rule in there because it makes sense. But ship-to-ship combat, or like blasting lasers or missiles combat, like I said, works pretty much the same way. To successfully hit a ship or a station or what have you, you have to go ahead and take the distance that you are from your target. So, and like, let's just put the ship right here. So the distance is 3. 1, 2, 3. You take the distance, and then you go ahead and double the speed of the thing that you're shooting at as well. And so, like, let's say the speed of the ship was at 2 at this point, and they're 3 away. So you double that speed, which would be 4, and it's 3 away, so 7. So this robot there shooting at it would have to just take his 2 dice, whatever targeting skill they possibly have, and they'd roll the dice, see if they hit. And I got another 12, because apparently these dice are loaded, and then the hit would occur. Now, the thing was, with combat and with damage to the ship, and I'm going to show you a little table here within the rules, just because me explaining to it is a lot easier. When you allocate damage to a ship, just think of the ship like this. And if you've played Galaxy Trucker, this is kind of like the same thing, where each of these locations, like so, is considered to be a different pathway for the ship. So this example is like the ship's weapon hits, you determine exactly where it hits. You select a column or row on the appropriate side of the enemy ship to determine where the shot goes. And then you roll 2 dice for hit location. And if you get a 7, it hits exactly where you want to. And then if it's lower or higher, then you kind of go up or down from that spot. So if we just were saying, okay, we're shooting straight down the middle, we go by that exact same situation. We roll 2 dice, 7. So it's going to hit in this location. And because we're shooting it as it's flying away, it's going to hit this area and so forth like that. After you've done that, you're gonna have to determine how much damage is going to take. So you take number of dice equal to the firing ship's gun's power, and then the target ship's shield's power, and then you just determine that. So if this gun power here was a 5, and then you say that now in targeting, then their shields was up to a 2, you would take 5 dice, like so, and roll them. And so we have 1, 4, 3, 6, 6. Those 2 shields will take the 2 top number dice off. And then you're going to just affect the 4, 3, 1. Now, if the result is a 4, 5, or 6, it'll break the module that's in there. So you like break this module, this life support module here. And then and it deals 2 dice of damage to everybody that's in that spot. And then a die result of 1, 2, or 3 doesn't break the module, but it does 1 die of personal damage to any location that's there. And then, so like you would go here, it wouldn't break the spot, but with this 3, so you just apply like a 4 here, a 3 here, a 1 here. So you do damage to the people in those locations of d6 each. And then, but that's, you wouldn't actually break the module. If they get broken, they don't function until somebody goes in there to fix it, and you have to have an engineering skill of 11 to fix something. Then you total the damage dice that landed in the modules, and 1 point for each die that missed the silhouette of the ship and get hull damage. And then, so you total the hull damage that way. And then if you ever get a total of 20 hull damage, the ship explodes on a 3 or more. And so then as you do more damage, you like have a greater and greater chance of having the ship explode on you. Now, that's probably not going to happen in this tutorial, but later on when you're having ship-to-ship combat, it's a very real possibility. So I like the fact that ship-to-ship combat isn't super complex. It's really straightforward because as much fun as it is to be piloting around, on this board here and like having other ships and blasting away, the real fun obviously is moving your little characters and actually being Captain Kirk and Spock and what have you, and tearing around the ship and dealing with enemy invaders or whatever your mission happens to be for that situation. So there you go. I mean, like I said, I didn't go into every single little tiny rule that you might have that affect the game. I invite you to go ahead, and they do have the rules available to download and take a look, and you can read through those if that interests you. All I can say is that this game is an absolute blast. It tells a story each time you play, and I love it dearly. I love the early version. I can't wait to see what this expanded version is going to be like. But I'll talk more about that in my conclusion, which I'll do right now. Alright, thank you very much for taking the time to sit through that video. Now, I was going to show you this. I forgot to tell you. Well, actually, a couple things I want to tell you really quick. So, your characters can die. Like, you can blast somebody, but this is a world where cloning is a very real thing that can happen. So, your character may die and you'll get cloned, but it isn't like 100%. So, like, you won't remember the mission that you're on. And so you won't be able to gain levels, and you won't be able to gain your skills. So, like, dying stinks because, one, you aren't able to help your friends out. But also, like, you don't actually get better. So, like, dying is never a good thing. It isn't something you can take lightly, even though your character, will continue on, if you will. Now, you also gain notoriety as well with each mission, and, maybe you won't go up levels, but you'll gain, like, other abilities and skills as well. And the cool thing about that is, like, the abilities and skills are, as I said, are things that you can kind of, like, go through, and there's, like, just a ton of them, like, that you can kind of add, that will flesh out your character and give them added bonuses and benefits that will allow you then, to use special powers that basically break the rules, if you will. So these are like the character sheets, and I'm just going to kind of zoom in here. And so these look like old school Dungeons and Dragons character sheets. You have a little spot there for your character. You have like your hit points and your skills and everything like that, and you'll keep this as a log. And so the cool thing is that when we played it and we played the old Battlestations, what we would do is we actually came up with storylines for our characters and came up with ideas behind it. Well, why were they a pilot? Why were they a Marine? And so on and so forth. And and we came up with, like I said, backstories and ideas and goals and dreams and whatever. And then that is what really made it a role-playing game for us. Now, if we did that without any kind of leveling ability or anything like that, it wouldn't feel like role-playing, because your character would just be this static creature that just, he's Captain Buff Stardust, and he is searching for his lost father, that fell into a black hole. But that's great, whatever. If I don't see Buff Stardust like gain levels and gain new abilities or anything like that, it's just a goofy name that I can say each time it's my turn. But if Buff Stardust, slowly becomes like better at controlling ships and like better at going through hyperspace and all these other different powers, then I see a progression for Captain Stardust, and I can actually get excited and actually start living through that character, and that's what I like about this. Now, I actually, and this is a little weird, but we actually we had searched and searched and searched for a science fiction game that kind of embodied the whole idea of having a ship, and Traveler does a pretty good job with that. But I liked the combat system for this. It was very simple, very straightforward, as I said. Even the ship combat, very simple, very straightforward. Not something that you get bogged down with. It's quick and you're done. So we actually took the rules for Battlestations, like as far as everything, like the mechanisms, and we created a role-playing game out of it. And we actually had a very long campaign and played with it. Now, you don't have to do that, but I mean, that was how good of a system this was. It was just something that we were able then to have a fantastic ongoing campaign with leveling of characters and exploring new worlds and whatever. Our own like little Star Trek universe, if you will. And we had a lot of fun with it. Now, if you're not creative and you can't come up with that stuff yourself, I know for a fact that they are going to go ahead and make those modules and those adventures and what have you, and you're going to be able to just continually be able to reuse this and use that. And there's nothing stopping you from just coming up with, let's just have 2 ships that you have to fly in and like take over that ship or rescue somebody from that ship and make it back on your own and so on and so forth. And just come up with that scenario and then go and have fun with it. The game is just fun. It's flat out fun. If you like science fiction, if you like tactile combat, if you like strategy, if you like each and every person on your team having their own special power and their own special ability, and everybody being able to contribute to the success of the mission, then I think you're going to like this. If you like being the evil overlord that like can put an end to their plans and just like throw a monkey wrench in the works, you're going to like being that player. I'll tell you the truth. This is the one game that I don't like being the evil overlord, because I like being Captain Buff Stardust and being able to like embody it. But it's a lot of fun either way, and I think if you enjoy other games that have that one versus many approach and like a continuing storyline, I think you're going to absolutely love Battlestations. So there you go. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. If you have any questions about how I was able to transform this into a role-playing game, like an actual like thing where we played a campaign that lasted like 9-10 months, I'll be happy to answer those as well. There you go. Thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.